Hello everyone, welcome this edition of Dishing Out Flavor. Today I'm going to be retesting my recipe for my biscuits. The last time I did it, they rose up beautiful, but there was an issue with the inside. It still seemed like it was a little bit too moist. It had a bit of a wetness to it, and even after baking it for an extended amount of time didn't really seem to improve it. So I've redone the flour and everything, and so that I wouldn't forget everything, I actually just redone this, and I was just writing everything on the bag, as you can see there. So what's in the bag is now here in the bowl, and to that I'm going to add in my salt and more baking powder so it can rise, because I want the biscuits to have a nice fluffiness and lift to it. So in some salt goes, about 2 grams. Okay, that's that. 2 grams. And now some baking powder. Give this a slight mix. This recipe comes together fairly quick. The biggest part is making a flour blend, and once you do that, you could just use it as needed. And then you make your buttermilk. So while you're blending your flour together and then storing it, you can already have your milk going with the vinegar in there to turn it to buttermilk. Or you can actually use real buttermilk. I don't really see an issue with that. I mean, it has a good amount of fat into it, and so it depends on what you're allowed in your macros, or what you're allowing yourself in your macros, because it's not like the low carb diet is actually prescribed for anyone. So you basically, it's a do it yourself type of meal plan, you know. So if you want a high amount of macros in your meal plan, then you can, you know, it's up to you. I wouldn't say dropping it too low at the start, because everyone, when they first get into low carb keto type things, they want to do that route of 20 net carbs a day. That may not be sufficient for you, especially if you haven't really gotten yourself checked out and you don't know if you have any heart conditions. Because I tell people in the past that I actually suffered a stroke about 1.5 years ago, somewhere along those lines, almost 2 years ago. And anyway, it's because I kept dropping my net carb and I was upping the fat. Well, I didn't know I had AFib. So I had an underlying heart condition. So you guys be aware of that. So my doctor, he said that I can continue to do the low carb diet. Just don't do keto, because that was just too much fat that I was doing. And so I had to go see my cardiologist, and she also agreed with my primary doctor. And also she told me to be aware of erythritol, so I can only use Truvia and allulose. But because of the scare of what erythritol does, you know, she was weary of it, and she told me to, you know, stay away from that. So that's what I've been doing. So anyway, back to these biscuits here. So I've got this blended up good enough. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this in the processor and then add my butter to it. Okay, and here's what my flux buttermilk look like. I make it to look very similar to buttermilk, the thickness, and I do that by adding heavy cream to the CarbMasters, so it can have that thickness and be clotted like real buttermilk would. Okay, well, my oven is preheated to the 350, as you all heard. Let me get this blended up and get these patted out, and let's make some biscuits. Okay, so this is what we have, a very, very thick dough, sticky and thick. Normally it would, your regular biscuits would be more of a dough, a shaggy dough, basically, and then you would have to fold it to get layers and this, that, and the other. This here is more of a drop biscuit dough, but I just put some oil on my hands, shape them up into circular little disc or so. Sorry about that, I paused. I was trying to see on the other side of this. But anyway, so I just shaped them into circles, put them on the parchment, and let them bake up. So let me get to that step there, and I'll be back in a moment. So this is what the dough is like in my hand, and I'm just going to shape it, and then I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, and here what it is. Here what it is. Good. That's so improper English. Here's what it looks like. That's what I was trying to say. My words got all mixed up in there some type of way. But anyway, it doesn't have to be perfectly round because like I'm not using a biscuit cutter or a cookie cutter or whatever it is. So this shape is okay. You know, that's good enough for me anyway. Because once it bakes up, it's going to expand and puff up, I hope. And then it's going to take on another shape anyway. So let me get the others onto the parchment and then into the oven. Okay, so I'm done putting all the biscuits onto the baking sheet, and I wanted to show how the dough actually is, because how I wanted this to be was similar to how the biscuits in the can be. You know, that dough is very soft and pliable, so this is my take on that, because I think they bake up really nicely. When I did my experimental ones last month sometime, they actually came out pretty good as far as the rise and the color and everything. So I'm hoping that happens with these. So here we go, 15 minutes. All right, this is what we have. Well, they expanded outward more than rising up. I don't have a problem with that either. So I'm just gonna brush on some butter. And then I'll probably brown them just a little bit more. Okay, so I put these on the broil for 1 minute, and now I'm just brushing a little bit more butter on them. There we go. Let me break one of these open. All right, dishing out flavor success. Look at that. See that? It's light, it's fluffy, it's buttery. This is simply delicious. I am loving these. They don't have that wet spot in the middle like the other ones did. Well, I shouldn't say wet spot. It was more of unbaked. I guess that would be a better term for it. They still had parts of the dough that wasn't baked in there. But this one here, I mean, that is awesome. You can see the crumb of the biscuit. That is biscuit texture. Look at there, through and through. Mmm, that's delicious. Look how beautiful brown they're baked up on the bottom. That is nice. That is nice. All right, guys. Finally, we have some awesome biscuits. Now, if you want your biscuit to be, like rise up more than expanding out, I would probably say add just a little bit more of almond flour to make the dough stiffer. But I would know. I'm not going to test anymore after this because I think this is perfect. I don't mind my biscuits expanding out because it has a little bit of a crisp to it. And like I say, it's real buttery, like those, very similar to how Popeye's biscuits are. And I love that. This is so good. I may have to fry me up some chicken and put on my little allulose honey, and have me like a Popeyes type day for lunch or dinner or something here. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for being a part of Dishing Out Flavor. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers, my new followers. You guys don't know how much it means to me to have you following along, taking an interest in my food. Thank you so much for that. I can never thank you enough. But I always promise to always come out with something very flavorful that's good, so you won't have like the same old thing. Um, and that's the whole purpose of why I'm doing this, turning low carb dishes into something phenomenal. Give it popping flavors, things that you normally wouldn't experience. You need more than just salt and pepper in your food. You need something that's not bland. And, to me, I came up with this idea because I got tired of so many people, doing the sound and making their eyes stretch open, making it seem all delicious. And then when I tried those recipes, they were not all that delicious. Yeah, notice the tone in my voice that it changed on that delicious. So I'm not here to deceive you. When I tell you something is delicious, is basically delicious to me, pretty much probably what those other people were doing. But I don't show my facial expressions because a facial expression can make it seem like it's more than what it is. So that's why I don't show myself eating my own food. Now, there are times when I'll show my kids eating my food and I'll fix something, and that's an actual reaction from the food. Nothing is fake, nothing is staged. I don't have time for that. All right, guys. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of Dishing Out Flavor. Here's to many, many more recipes. Tell your friends about me. Tell other family members about me. And I'll see you when I see you. Thank you, and God bless.